Good morning. It is 6:50 on the 8th of January, Monday, 6:50 a.m. So please excuse me if I'm still struggling to wake up and come to life, as it were. Good morning. You are viewing this video, obviously, because you are in the class Introduction to Ethics. It is an accelerated online class. And so, well, let's get right into it. The syllabus is different than well, I've completely revamped the course over winter break, over the semester break. And so let's look at it closely. It's probably different than you expect. Um, okay, first of all, I have the boilerplate information, Northwest Technical College, the address, the semester, the dates that the course runs, my name, and my cell number, and my email address. Now, the cell number is good, and if you have any problems, uh, if you are worried about an assignment or anything, please don't hesitate to call. Most students don't like to call. They're afraid to call for some reason. And then the first thing they say on the phone is, "Oh, I'm so sorry to bother you." You're not bothering me. I have a job because of you, and I thank you for that. Don't hesitate to call. Now, that being said, I go to bed at 9 o'clock, and so please, if you call after 9, I'm going to be like, but I get up early, and so you can call anytime after 7 in the morning. I'm usually awake by that point. Um, I'm usually up at 5:30, but that doesn't mean awake. So to move on, there's a course description. I'm not going to read that. You're more than capable of reading that. There are no prerequisites for this course. Now, we're struggling with that. We're discussing making college writing a prereq because some of the papers I get are horrible. I mean, I don't mean the papers themselves are horrible. I mean, the grammar is awful and the style format is awful. It just simply means that you haven't been taught how to use APA or MLA format. But currently, there are no prereqs. Boilerplate, measurable course outcome, critical thinking. Let's go to methods to assess competence. First of all, there is required reading. I'm sorry, but this is an accelerated class. You need, in 8 weeks, to be able to digest the same amount of reading that someone in my 16-week lecture course makes it through. And so the reading can be difficult. There is required reading and there is an assignment for required reading. We'll go more into the assignments momentarily. Right now, I'm just going to, there are exams, there are ethics problem assignments, those are case studies, and there are discussion boards. That's it. The exams, we'll talk a little bit more about them, but let me just tell you that what you see is what you get. I'm not trying to um, trick you in any way. Each exam covers a number of chapters. There are no midterms or finals per se, there are just exams. All right, proctors. Well, first the textbook. And of course, where did I put the textbook? Oh, this is the textbook. It is Jacques Thoreau's Ethics, Theory, and Practice, 11th edition. You may have a paper edition. Um, you may have purchased, um, the online edition. It doesn't matter. They're the same. If you're using the 10th edition, it's probably the same. Oh, there's no probably. It is the same. There will be a few differences, but you can make it with any of the editions of the textbook. The assignments you will not find in anything but the 11th, but I've gone ahead and put the assignments in the content section. You can just click that and voila. It gives you the questions, and doing the reading is exactly the same in the various editions. Proctor, you don't need a proctor for these exams. That means that each of you is on your honor to complete the exams without using your notes. I say, or any other materials. You may use your book, but you may not use your notes. Of course, cheating is ground for immediate failure. Um, I don't know how I would find out that you were cheating. Maybe I don't know, but cheating is ground for failure. This is an ethics class, so please don't. Course assignments. Okay, now we're going to get into the nuts and bolts. Reading is 10%. There's a schedule later in this syllabus that will tell you what the reading schedule is. But this course relies heavily, heavily on reading and discussion. And if you're going to participate in the discussion, it's essential to keep up with the assigned readings. So that's 10% of your grade. By the way, everything in this class is based on 100 points. So reading is 10 points. Many, well, I won't say many, there's always one or two people in the class that don't turn this assignment in. They forget about it. And that drops you an entire letter grade. If you say that you completed 10% of the reading, I give you 100% of the reading, I give you 10 points. If you say you completed 20% of the reading, you get 2 points. So be aware of that. That is due towards the very end of the class. Discussions. Now, the course is broken up into 3 sections. All right. So for each section, you will need to do 2 separate threads, and you will need to respond to 4 other threads. So you'll begin 2 original posts about anything within the section, which is chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. You don't need to worry about each chapter. You need to worry about the section. 6 posts are required per section. Now, that seems pretty straightforward, yet there's always a student that will turn in 4 or 5, and then there are students that will turn in way more, which is absolutely fine, but you're being graded on turning in 6. Now, that being said, each section of discussion is worth 10 points. And so you get 1 point for each of these texts. That gives you 6 possible points if you do them all. Remember, 2 original, 4 responses. So you're going to need to keep up on the discussion board, and you're going to need to do this on a daily basis. Also, that leaves 4 points out in the open, and that is going to depend on how many of the posts you read. You are required to read all of the posts, but inevitably, I'll be inundated with various text and emails wanting to know why I only got 5 points out of 10. And it's like, well, you didn't read any of the posts, and you only turned in 5 of the required posts, and you read none. Oh, well, I didn't know we were supposed to read them all. Well, it's written in the syllabus, it's written in the instructions. I'm telling you right now, and so I'm not going to have a whole lot of sympathy, but you need to keep up with these discussions. You're going to choose whatever you think is interesting. And so, surely in 4 chapters, you can find 2 interesting topics. So, discussions. The next is examinations. Again, the course is broken into 3 sections, each divided into 4 chapters. Now, the textbook is 16 chapters, but we're only going to go through the first 12. So each section has an exam. Each exam is worth 10% of the final grade. Now add it up. Again, this is 30% of your grade. Um, that being said, we'll talk more when I come to the course schedule, but what I like to do is open the exams on Monday and close the exams on Monday. So you have a full week, except in this class, the last week is a short week. So for the first two exams, you get an entire 7 days. For the third exam, you only get 5 days because the course ends rather abruptly. But you can take them at any time that you want. There is no password to get into it, but they do open for a specific 7-day period. Now, the exams are difficult. I warn you right out the gate that the exams are difficult. Reading is difficult. This is a philosophy course. Um, Philosophy reading is always difficult. Um, However, to make this a little easier, I have come up with practice exams. There is a practice exam that are always open. You may take them as many times as you wish, and you will find that the test is completely made up of questions that are on the practice exam. Now, that should be a huge help. There are no trick questions. What you see is what you get. That being said, there are always students that will not um, take the practice exams, and then it was so hard. Again, very little sympathy, since I've gone to what I consider are extremes to help you be successful. Again, the reading's difficult. And I don't want to hear on the, usually I have to read a ton of these, that on the discussions, oh, the textbook is so hard, I don't understand it. I get it. The textbook's hard. This is a college course. It's worth 3 units of credit. And so, yes, it's hard. Maybe you didn't expect that, but welcome to college. If it were really, really, really simple, what would a degree mean? Now, that being said, you're going to have to read each chapter several times, probably. But what you don't need to do is master it. I don't expect you to become a master of ethics when you simply read the textbook. A lot of students on the reading report will say, oh, I read it several times, but I just didn't get everything. That's okay. You just need to read it. You don't need to master it. I have lectures that I've posted for each section, for each chapter, actually. And watch the lecture, do the reading, take the practice tests, and you will do very well, I assure you. And then there are the ethics problems. Now listen, this is the biggest issue in the course. You will choose one ethics problem found in each section, not chapter. That means you have one ethics problem per section. That means you will only do 3 total ethics problems for the course. But what will happen is I will invariably get a bunch of assignments that have 4 problems on them because students misread. It's not necessary, and these ethics problems really need to be attacked. For instance, you'll choose one of the following for section 1. You'll choose why be moral, found on page 28. Would you throw the switch, on page 44? Would you kill for the sake of duty, on page 59? Or bullying, what should you do, on page 75? You'll choose one of those, and you will write a paper, basically, answering the questions posed in the problem. Now this should be 3 to 4 full pages. So if you turn in 2.5 pages, I'm going to mark it down. It needs to be 3 full pages. And by the way, if you're using, a quarter of a page for your header, I'm not going to count that. 3 full pages for full points. Each one of these assignments is worth 10 points. So this is 30% of your grade. I don't require a term paper anymore because these together make up what I would have required for a term paper. Some students really like this, some don't. I like term papers, so either way would be okay with me, but it doesn't matter what I like, it matters what you like. So remember, 1 per section, grammatically correct. By that, I'm not a grammar totalitarian. I don't go through there, no, you split an infinitive. What I mean is, watch your language, no texting language, no emojis, no cursing, no LOL, clear, concise English. If English is not your first language, I apologize, but I still require clear, concise English, and I can mark you down a bit if it's not. Or I might just say, I can't understand the point that you're trying to make. Please fix and resubmit. But at any rate, again, if you don't have the 11th edition, you won't find these problems at the end of the chapter. But if you go to the content section here, you will find all 12 of those problems laid out for you. You just click it. In fact, even if you have the correct textbook, why reinvent the wheel? Click it and use that as a template. All right. Grading. A, B, C, D, F. 4-point scale. That being said, if you're a nursing student, you may be concerned, well, I need to have a B or I won't pass. This is not a nursing course. You will pass with A, B, or C. You can pass the course with a D, but you'll have trouble transferring the credit. So you're going to need to put quite a bit of effort into the course. Here's the schedule. Again, I keep saying it's broken up into 3 sections, but that's important. The exams, you can take the first exam from the 15th to the 22nd of January. I know that's very soon. However, this is only an 8-week course, and so you're going to be taking an exam every other week. But exam 1, 15 through 22 January, it covers chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. Exam 2, 5 through 12 February, and that will cover chapters 5, 6, 7, and 8. And exam 3, 26 February through 2 March, 5 days, chapters 9, 10, 11, and 12. If you need to take the exam earlier or you want to finish the class earlier, contact me and we can work that out. By the 22nd of January, you will have read chapters 1 through 4, and you will have to turn in Ethical 1 problem. Also, the discussions will close on the 22nd of January. The 12th of February is section 2. The 2nd of March is section 3. And also, the 2nd of March, the reading report is due no later than that. The course ends on that day. And so, of course, spring break will begin. I will actually leave everything open all during spring break so that you can get back in. And if I've asked you to fix and resubmit, I'm not just going to cut everything off because I don't go anywhere for spring break. But that's the course. Now, if you want to get out of the syllabus and you want to go back, go to the table of contents. If I were you, I would print the syllabus out, but it's always available here. But you will see under the table of contents, you will see this video, the instructor information, and the syllabus and schedule. Under the assignments section, you will find ethics problems. Um, you'll find section 1 ethics problems, section 2 ethics problems, section 3 ethics problems. Now, this is instructions, the ethics problems, instructions on how to complete, what I expect. So click on that. And it basically has the same things you'll find in the syllabus. The student will choose one of the ethics problems found in each the section. Boy, I better fix that. Each question is fairly complex and will require between 3 to 4 pages, double spaced, to answer completely. Keep in mind that this corresponds to the 11th edition. If you have an earlier edition, you will not be able to find these, so I have included them in the content section. Actually, you'll find them directly below this. Please answer one of the following. All right, let's go back to assignments. So section 1, 2, and 3, ethics problems, then instructions for the discussion board, and instructions for examinations, and instructions for required reading, and finally, extra credit. If you really blow an exam, if you didn't follow my instructions on how to prepare and you want to fix it, no problemo. All you need to do is call your exam up, look at the questions you missed and answer what the correct answer would be to each question that you missed. Don't just cut and paste, give a little blurb, but say you got a 43% on your exam. You do the extra credit and I will raise it all the way up to a 70%. Now, my experience over the last 15 to 20 years has been that students who need extra credit very rarely do it. The people that really want to do it are the hard-charging overachievers. And I've had, well, how come if you've got an A, you can't do the extra credit? You can, but an A is an A, and there's no difference between 90 and 99. An A is an A. However, say you got a 74 and you want to raise that to an 80. Do the extra credit and I will raise you to an 80. If you got a 86 and you want a 90, I will do the extra credit. But if you've already got an A, I wouldn't worry about it. But if you must, I will raise it from a 92 to a 95. I'm not going to raise anything above a 95. So there you go. That's the extra credit. You will find I have spent a lot of time preparing D2L in the syllabus. I always find mistakes. I try to correct them. If you find a mistake, let me know as soon as possible and I'll get in there and correct it. But I said earlier, call me. And please do, feel free to call me. But don't call me until you have thoroughly read the syllabus and tried to answer your question by going to D2L. It'll answer 99% of your questions. But that being said, again, feel free to call or text if you have questions or concerns. Helpful term paper resources. We don't have a term paper in here, but I couldn't figure out how to remove helpful term paper resources from the section. And so you'll see it, and somebody will panic when they see that. But if you click it, it opens up an empty section. And that is because I tried to delete the entire section, just couldn't figure out how to do it. But that is the course in a nutshell. So if you have questions or concerns, again, call me, beep me, text me, anything. and I will get back to you hopefully within a couple of hours of you checking the question. Other things that are important, you need to check your email daily. You need to log in and check your email daily. If you don't, you're going to miss um, important things. That being said, say I discover a mistake and I want to cover that mistake, I will send an email out and you'll miss it if you don't check daily. Um, there's another thing that you need to do that I don't grade on, but each week you need to go down into, let's see, you will click on, let me go back, table of contents, and you will need to go to the discussion board under communications, click on discussions, and you will see general discussions. That is for you to put your thoughts, anything that may or may not be course related, like, hey, what's up with this exam schedule? I don't that's where you'd put it. Your thoughts for section 1 will go under chapters 1 through 4, chapters 5 through 8, or 9 through 12. That is your discussion board. However, weekly attendance board, I say you need to read 100% of the posts. That doesn't count the attendance board. You don't need to read all of, your classmates saying present. But you need to go to whatever week and you need to make a post saying present. That's it. This is how I keep attendance. This is how I know if somebody is not logging in, if somebody is not making forward progress. I'll figure that out on the attendance board. If you absolutely refuse to sign in, I may subtract points. I don't like to do that, but it's pretty easy to go on and give a post saying present. But there are students that, for whatever reason, just refuse to do it. If you don't do week 1, if you do not sign in for week 1, I will drop you from the course because it means that you haven't attended class during the opening week. And my practice is to drop students that don't show up for the first class session. There you have it. Have a wonderful semester, and I can't wait to begin reading your assignments and reading your thoughts on the discussion board. Have a great, great, great day, and see you around the discussion board.